tonight.
We were hoping each day that Frank would be brought home to us.
The family of Frank Young speaks out for the first time since the little boy went missing 4 weeks ago. Also, drinking alcohol in outdoor public places may soon be reality in Saskatchewan towns, cities, and parks. And up in the air, training camps are cancelled and the CFL players are on strike 1 week ahead of the first scheduled preseason game.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Monday, May 16th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The family of a 5-year-old boy who's been missing for nearly a month is not giving up hope. Frank Young was last seen outside his home on Red Earth Cree Nation 4 weeks ago. Today, for the first time, his family spoke publicly. Jason Warwick has the details.
And that's what keeps us going every day, is the hope that we're going to see Frank.
5-year-old Frank Young has been missing for 28 days. Hundreds of volunteers have helped the RCMP and search and rescue crews scour the marshy lands in and around the Red Earth and Shoal Lake First Nations in northeast Saskatchewan.
We are Frank's family.
On Monday, Frank's family spoke publicly for the first time at a news conference in Prince Albert. The boy's parents and his guardian were present.
I used to love his chipmunk voice. He's got a little chipmunk voice.
And his grandmother, Teresa Whitecap, described Frank as a creative, kind boy. Whitecap says they appreciate the RCMP's quick response and the overwhelming support from the community.
We don't know how to say thank you. I don't know how to express thank you.
First Nations leaders say they cling to hope that they will either find Frank alive or at least bring him home.
Despite this being day 28, we still view this mission as a rescue mission.
And all we ask is every effort to bring him home so that this family can heal and be at peace.
But search crews and First Nations officials say everyone is exhausted. They need more help.
Our search and rescue team, like the family and like leadership, will not give up until Frank is brought home. We need help. We need more people on the ground. And if you're able to, I'm asking my First Nation sisters, brothers, cousins to please help the family.
They're calling on the military to deploy the Canadian Rangers to join the search. They'd also like to see more volunteers, more financial donations, more food. They say anything helps. Jason Warwick, CBC News, Prince Albert.
Researchers say the latest wastewater testing for COVID-19 has revealed some good news. According to samples taken up to May 11th, Saskatoon's viral load dropped by more than 85% from the previous week. The U of S professor leading the study says it appears the city has passed the peak of the 6th wave. Wastewater readings in Prince Albert and North Battleford are also down by 65% and 90% respectively. Things are similar in Regina. In the latest wastewater analysis, the U of R says viral levels have decreased significantly. In fact, the viral load is nearly down to what it was at the start of the Omicron wave. The victim of one of Canada's worst miscarriages of justice has died. David Milgaard spent 23 years in prison for rape and murder in Saskatchewan he never committed. After his release, he became an outspoken advocate for the wrongfully convicted. Here's Emily Brass on Milgaard's enduring legacy.
For over 2 decades, David Milgaard and his mother worked to prove his innocence while he was behind bars. Arrested for murder at just 16, he was finally freed at age 39.
It's good to be out forever, right?
Lawyer David Asper helped them, working to get Milgaard released from prison in 1992, then fully exonerated in 1997.
It filled my heart with joy to see him as a free person. And needless to say, it's a really tough day today.
Milgaard was passing through Saskatoon with friends in 1969 when he was arrested for the rape and murder of Gail Miller. Police said evidence pointed to the home where he was staying for one night only. He was convicted the next year.
I don't know how you can lead a normal life after spending so many years in jail at such a young age.
Cecil Rosner co-wrote a book on Milgaard, and his research helped clear his name.
When we looked at the totality of all the evidence, we were both convinced that he was innocent. Not only that he was innocent, but we knew who the real killer was.
The real killer was Larry Fisher. He'd been living in the basement of the same house where Milgaard stayed in Saskatoon. In 1980, Fisher's ex-wife even told police she believed he was the likely killer, but police were unconvinced. For years, lawyers and journalists accused police of tunnel vision. DNA evidence later conclusively proved Milgaard's innocence.
There's no dollars and cents value on the kind of things that are lost.
7 years after his release, the government awarded David Milgaard and his family $10 million. Milgaard then spent years campaigning for an independent review board and advocating for people wrongfully convicted. David Milgaard died this weekend. He was 69. Emily Brass, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The mayor of Regina met with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in Ottawa today.
It's an opportunity for us to talk about the work we've been doing together on infrastructure, on water, on reconciliation.
The two spoke briefly with the media before their private meeting. Mayor Sandra Masters said she's looking for federal support for infrastructure and water treatment. She also met with several cabinet ministers. The Saskatchewan government is amending legislation to allow municipalities to permit drinking in outdoor public places like parks. It wants its bill to pass and allow for the changes to happen by the summer, but the opposition says it won't support the bill introduced with 3 days left in the spring sitting.
Government, they can always pass legislation, whatever legislation they want. If they really saw this as a priority for this summer, if they really wanted to have this as an option available to municipalities, they should have introduced this weeks ago rather than, the last 3 days we have to debate legislation.
So you don't. The government can pass the bill without the NDP support in the future, but not by summertime. The opposition floated the idea last year, but SAR says the party received positive and negative feedback. It wants the issue debated further. Edmonton and Calgary have allowed for drinking in designated parks since last year. The Saskatchewan Roughriders should be well into training camp by now. Should be. But a labor dispute has shut down all league activity until a new collective bargaining agreement is reached. The CFL and Players Association were unable to come to terms on a new contract prior to Saturday night's deadline. Training camp sites like Griffith Stadium in Saskatoon remain quiet and negotiations have broken down. In a statement, the CFL says it made a full and comprehensive offer to the union, but it was rejected. We caught up with the Riders players rep in Saskatoon.
Well, at this point, Monday's coming pretty quick, and the fact that we haven't been on the field together, and in my opinion, we're going to need at least one walkthrough day and 3 full practices at minimum to even get there. So unless something really gets done tomorrow, I don't know if that's going to be detrimental to the league with the TSN deal they have, and with the Genius Sports money and the single game sport betting money. There's a lot of things at stake and on the table here. So we're just hoping they want to talk and get back on the table. We tried to start this in January, and going forward too, I'm hoping that it doesn't really stick right before training camp that we're trying to get things done. I've definitely been pretty vocal in the meetings about trying to get this done a month or 2 months before that expires so they can actually start working on stuff, because between the players, I know the league and the fans, no one wants to see any of this.
For more on what's happening, I'm joined now by Murray McCormick. He's the Rough Riders beat writer for the Regina Leader-Post and Post Media. Thanks for being here.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. What a beautiful day for football. What a waste.
Murray, how did we get here?
We got here way back in February when the league and the CFLPA met for what seemed to be progressing talks. They were dealing with the minor details, and we thought, man, things are going, but veterans like myself know that the real game doesn't start till it gets near training camp. And then a little while ago, the league dropped this bombshell of a collective bargaining agreement with them. 10-year deal, reduction of the Canadian ratio, American ratio, and all sorts of things that just blew up. And we knew we were going to be an ugly one. And then Saturday, they come back with another deal that's even more onerous for the players, other than some part 7-year deal, revenue sharing that the players don't like, inclusion of padded practices, and all these things that people in the real world aren't too concerned with, but just blew up on a Saturday afternoon. CFL walks away from the bargaining table, and as people know in the real world, when you walk away from the bargaining table, there isn't any bargaining.
So as it stands, what's the current state of things? Are they on strike officially?
Yes, they're on strike. But it's funny, sports writers don't like to use the word strike, but they're on strike. They can't work. It's strike, work stoppage. It's not a lockout, though, because they could still access some of the team facilities at some stage. So we're on strike. This is on strike. I watched a bunch of guys stretch and do nothing yesterday. This morning I was out watching the offense stretch and run around. It's just on strike. It's a strange, strange world.
So what are the major sticking points? Who's asking for what?
Some of the major sticking points is the transparency of revenue sharing. Hard to believe the CFL players don't exactly trust the owners when it comes to opening up the books, so they want an auditor. Another thing is, and it sounds crazy going strikeout, but one of the things the CFL wants to bring back is padded practices. They want to bring back 12 padded practices. The players are against that. They haven't had padded practices for quite a few years, and they pointed a reduction of injuries. But football coaches need padded practices. They need the guys to hit because the bottom line in football, that's a big one. There's also the term of the deal. The originally mentioned was 10 years. The CFL wants to go 7 years. CFLPA would like to see 5 years, so we avoid this stuff happening every year. And people will say, doesn't they just have another negotiation last year? They do. They want to somehow change that. The CFLPA and one of its sides there would like to see the CFL, the bargaining done 30 days before the opening of training camp to avoid all the stress and anxiety that is taking place right now. So a lot of little things that don't seem that important, but they are important to the players. And I forgot to mention, they want to bump up the minimum salary from $65,000 to $70,000 and then $75,000 in 2027. Players are okay with any money extra coming in, but they would like to see a little more coming in on that front too.
So Murray, where do we go from here? Will the Riders host the preseason game that's supposed to be a week from today? Is that feasible?
I really wish I could answer that question, but right now it's not an unanswerable question. I think if they haven't settled by Wednesday, I think the preseason game will be off the books. But never say never in the CFL. Maybe they need a couple of days to get ready to practice. The players are concerned about showing up for a game to play in game shape when they haven't really played since last November. So I think Wednesday will be the deciding factor. And I also kind of think Wednesday will be the day when we get an idea how long this might go on. Because if they haven't agreed to a deal by then and they're canceling preseason games, I think things are going to go on a little while longer. I'm not optimistic, but it's going to get settled. It always gets settled. We always know how long that'll be. That's going to be a question we're going to have to answer in the long run. But it will get settled, but I just don't know how much blood is going to be spilled till we reach that point.
Well, thanks so much for this, Murray.
Well, I hope I help provide some information to people, and I know labor isn't my thing, but if you want to talk football, maybe in the next time we talk, we can talk a little football.
All right. Murray McCormick covers the Riders for the Regina Leader Post and Post Media. He joined us from Saskatoon. Fans of the wonder that is Cirque du Soleil have something to look forward to. Cirque is bringing its show OVO to Regina and Saskatoon. In case you're wondering, ovo is egg in Portuguese. The show opened in Montreal in 2009 and features the lives of insects. The performance will be at the Brand Centre July 21st to 24th and at SaskTel Centre from July 27th to 31st. Tickets go on sale next Tuesday. We'll be back after the break.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. The exclusive export event is back.
Welcome back. Ethan Williams is here with a look at the forecast, and the rain finally stopped and the skies actually cleared this weekend.
Yeah, that's right, Sam. They sure did, and that made some magic in the sky very visible for us last night. We saw a total lunar eclipse. It's the first one of the year, and it's the first one since last May. Now, this happens when the moon passes through the Earth's shadow and it creates stunning views like this. Now, eclipses also occur around the time when the moon is closest to Earth, making it appear as that big super moon. And as Earth's atmosphere scatters light from the sun, it appears as this sort of reddish color. And it could be a source of inspiration too. Ryan Hicks is a songwriter from Regina who gets inspiration from stargazing, and he snapped these shots near the city last night. He's actually working on a new album where several songs will be inspired by the night sky. You can see him working there. And part of his music video will include footage that he took from this eclipse as well. And this particular moon, Farmer's Almanac likes to assign names to each of the moons throughout all the months of the year. And this one is known as the flower moon, because it's thought to be, of course, the time where the flowers start blooming in the month of May. And we had a pretty active sky last night. Not only did we have the big moon and the eclipse, but we also had Starlink, the SpaceX satellite, flying overhead. And we also had some of this as well, some aurora gracing our skies. Now, it wasn't incredibly powerful aurora, but Angela managed to capture this photo north of Saskatoon, about an hour north. And unfortunately, with cloud cover and the KP index being a little bit lower over the next few days, it looks like last night was your best opportunity this week to catch the aurora, but stunning views nonetheless. And the skies were active on Friday as well. This is a look at total rainfall amounts now from Environment Canada and a few other sources as well. Pangman picking up 85 millimeters from that system, the big winner in all of this. Weyburn picking up 75. Regina getting between 35 and 40 millimeters as well. And Saskatoon actually picking up about 20 millimeters. We really didn't think they were going to get anything, but they did get some. And even in the southwest corner where it is badly needed, Val-Marie did pick up about 24 millimeters. Still more needed, and there is still some falling at this hour. We are looking at thunderstorms moving across the south-central part of the province in the Assiniboia-Gravelbourg area. Moving eastward, these are well below severe limits, but there could be some heavy rain embedded in there. And it is possible that non-severe thunderstorms will continue through the night tonight, especially Regina, Saskatoon, the southwest part of the province. We'll see that move through as we watch a trough move to the northeast. Then by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon, I think the central part of the province is going to see some showers, but the south will remain mainly clear. We could see some sun and cloud, maybe some showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, but that pulls away as we go through into Wednesday. But then as we get to Thursday, we're watching our next system moving in from Alberta, and this will drop temperatures and it will also bring us some significant rainfall. I don't think it's going to be anything like we saw last week, but still nonetheless a few millimeters or so. Winds also going to pick up tomorrow, not too bad. They'll be strongest in the southwest, and then they shift to the southeast as we get to Wednesday morning, between 40 and 50 kilometers an hour. And then as that system starts to move in on Thursday, you can see it swirling around there. Those winds will pick up in the southwest, maybe between 40 and 50 kilometers an hour. Again, I don't think they'll get quite as strong as they did with that system on Friday, but we will feel them. Now, a nice day in Regina tomorrow. 24 degrees again, a chance of some thunderstorms in there. We cool down as we head toward that system moving in on Thursday, maybe about 10 millimeters or so from that. And then as we head into the long weekend, a warm up. Saskatoon, I think rain showers tomorrow on and off, high of 19 degrees, really cool on Thursday, maybe only 6 degrees, 5 to 10 millimeters. But the carrot on the stick, Sam, is the long weekend. Thankfully, it looks like right now it's going to be not too bad.
And then we start growing carrots.
That's right.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
Whoa, whoa! Wow, that was intense.
There was plenty of adrenaline and speed on display at a racing championship over the weekend, but no gas at all. This was the first electric scooter championship held on a route through the British capital. And there were some spills along the way as riders competed for glory. A Swiss rider picked up first place, followed by a British competitor and one from India. We'll be back after the break. A community is grieving the victims of yet another mass shooting in the United States. A white teen is accused of driving more than 300 kilometers across New York State to Buffalo and fatally shooting 10 black people on Saturday. The 18-year-old suspect is in custody and been charged with murder, but has pleaded not guilty. As Stephen D'Souza reports, federal prosecutors are also contemplating hate crime charges.
My mother was an angel. My mother was... she was my mother. You know, you can't replace your mother.
The pain is still raw for Garnell Whitfield. His mother, Ruth, was the oldest victim in Saturday's shooting. She had just left a nearby nursing home where for the last 8 years she used to visit her ailing husband. He was the love of her life, but Whitfield says they haven't figured out how to tell his father she's gone.
We don't know what's in his best interest, how he will take this news.
Many here are focusing their anger on the suspect, who specifically targeted this neighborhood and its predominantly black residents.
That's evil. And for a kid that young that had that much evil in his heart, I really feel like, he really, we need to do better.
All 10 victims have been identified, including 72-year-old Kat Massey, who last year wrote to the local paper calling for action to address gun violence, and 67-year-old Hayward Patterson, a deacon who often shuttled people to and from the store to get their groceries. The store is at the heart of this community. The only grocery store in the area, it was a hub, which makes the shooting that much more devastating.
He studied that it was an important hub, but there's more like him. There's more like him across these United States of America.
Civil rights lawyer Ben Crump called for accountability for those online and on TV that promote the ideology that allegedly motivated the gunman.
What happened on Saturday was an act of domestic terrorism. And we have to define it as such.
Garnell and his family fought back tears to lead a call for change.
What are you willing to do so that the next time it's not you standing here before your broken-hearted family?
He took away my mother and my best friend. How dare you? How dare you?
Police today released a chilling new detail. Had the accused gunman not been caught on Saturday, he had plans to continue to other locations nearby. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Buffalo.
Ethan is back with one last look at tonight's weather.
And some showers possible tonight, Sam. In Regina, maybe a thunderstorm at midnight. Those southeast wind gusts will still be quite strong at about 45 kilometers an hour. But by the time we get to tomorrow morning at around 8 o'clock, the skies will clear. We'll be at 12 degrees. Still some breezy winds, mainly sunny conditions, and then we get into noon and we have those mainly sunny conditions sticking around. Not too bad at 21, getting to a high of 24, and southwest winds not too bad. In Saskatoon, we're looking at 9 degrees overnight, cloudy with showers. East winds at about 40 kilometers an hour. We get to tomorrow morning, we still see some cloudy conditions and some periodic showers at 10 degrees. And then as we get into the noon hour, we are looking at 17 degrees. Skies will clear, Sam, as we head through the afternoon.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And before we leave you tonight, a big congratulations to Regina-born Colin James on his Juno Award win last night in Toronto. James won Blues Album of the Year for his album, Open Road, and he wasn't the only one to represent the Queen City.
I think about it every day.
The 2022 Juno Awards marked a few firsts for Regina's own Tesher. After only a year of making music full-time, he earned his first nomination for Breakthrough Artist of the Year. Last night was also the first time he performed on live TV. The song he's performing here, Jalebi Baby, is a worldwide hit with more than 100 million streams on Spotify alone. There's also another 100 million streams of a version featuring superstar Jason Derulo. But instead of Derulo, Juno's host and actor Simu Liu joined Tesher on stage. The performance ended with Liu yelling, "Now that's how we celebrate Asian Heritage Month." Such a fun performance. That is it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can head to our website or our YouTube channel. Glenn Reed will be back with more local news at 11. Tomorrow you'll find us online as round 2 of the NHL playoffs begins. Thank you for watching and have a great night.